layer is definitely 10YR 4/3, moist.
Okay, logging that as 4/3 brown for the early Elamite phase.
The civilization that built this structure, the Elamites, created one of the oldest and most sophisticated civilizations.
The most remarkable pieces visible in the display case are the tall goblets with their dramatically tapered profile.
The characteristic old Elamite pottery forms, the tall storage jars with rope-impressed decoration, the painted beak.
These multiple floor surfaces here in the trench section represent successive phases of use in the same building, spanning potentially centuries of continuous function.
This shows the erased section where Shutruk Nahante had the original inscription chiseled away, literally overwriting.
The final phase of Elamite civilization, approximately 1100 to 539 years before the Common Era.
He describes entering the palaces of Susa, opening the treasuries where gold and silver were stored, destroying the ziggurat of Susa and breaking the bronze gates.
The final Elamite royal inscriptions, Shutir Nachunte, Chalutush Inshushinak, and Atachuma Inshushinak, kings of Anzan and Susa.
The Persepolis fortification tablets, approximately Elamite administrative tablets.
The detail in this Elamite column is incredible.
Yes, this version is definitely the most comprehensive.
By tracing the stylistic relationship here, we see the continuity. The King of Anshan title
This is it, the exact point of the Achaemenid overlay.
Mark this level precisely before we move deeper.
Demonstrates Elamites' role in imperial
smell these objects from approximately 4,300 years before the Common Era represent a major artistic and manufacturing.
This drone view shows the extraordinary ambition of the Proto-Elamites. The same accounting practices appear in...
We're examining luxury imports like lapis lazuli from Afghanistan and carnelian from India, mapping their...
Polis. The distinctive rendering of the human figure here clearly distinguishes the Elamitic image.
Visual irony, the territory of the ancient Elamite civilization.
The statistical analysis suggests roughly 1,000 distinct signs, far more complex than the 600 we see in the contemporary cuneiform.
The references are clear. From the Genesis genealogy to the multilingual crowd in Acts, Elam's significance is undeniable.
This layer marks the high water mark of the early Elamite expansion. It was an econite expansion. It was an economic penetration, spreading administrative...
Mark this cistern at 300 meters easting.
Roger that. The drone is halfway through the grid pattern now.
Good, that covers the caravanserai foundation.
The interpretive challenge is significant. Does this thin layer reflect a genuine reduction in urban activity? These Neo-Elamite ceramics, distinct from the earlier wares, along with these bronze objects and cuneiform tablets, show a clear political renaissance.
Listen. We are analyzing the specific formula used here to refer to the Elamite king. Note the varying designation.
The military archaeologist in the orange vest is comparing the Elamite weapon forms against the Mesopotamian military equipment.
Shurbanipal boasts of removing the bones of Elamite kings from their tombs and taking them to Assyria, of salting and devastating the Elamite countryside.
Darius the Great, King of Kings. The Elamite cuneiform confirms the royal title.
The significance of this iconographic inheritance is the depth of the Elamite cultural influence on Persian royal ideology.
The distinction is crucial. Are we looking at foundations or water systems?
The comparison charts clearly show the systematic Iranian loanwords entering the Elamite vocabulary, marking a significant cultural fusion administration.
We see the strong Elamite cultural identity preserved here. The royal portrait style clearly invokes the earlier traditions, centuries later. Place names represent the most persistent form of linguistic survival. The name Khuzestan itself derived from Old Persian Hujiya, meaning Elam.
Between the crucial distinction between political disappearance and culture and intellectual absorption.
This building's plan fits perfectly into the urban organization of Neo-Elamite Susa.
Wait, look at this. It's the royal text.
The Elamite monument you see rising above the plain is one of the ancient Near East's most impressive architectural achievements.
The debate is whether these two writing systems developed independently or if one influenced the other. The
strategy focuses on the poorly documented periods in Elamite history, including the 300-year gaps and the transition to Achaemenid occupation.
These cuneiform tablets are among the oldest writings known. They tell us about daily life in the Elamite civilization.
The conviction that Iranian cultural identity cannot be fully understood from the Achaemenid period alone.
Ensiedelt. The summary presentation outlines 4 fundamental contributions. First, the Elamites
The Elamite section represents the earliest chapter of our civilization, the very foundation of Iranian cultural identity.
This preliminary distribution map clearly shows the complex interdigitation of Elamite and Babylonian ceramic types.
and Zirbin. The evolution from these physical clay tokens through the impressed tablets to the abstract Proto-Elamite script.
When we examine 2500 BCE, we see four great civilizations. Yet,
the comparison shows a shared emphasis on fire in ritual, the role of mountain deities, and the concept of divine protection for the ruler.
The question should not be why the Elamites disappeared, but rather why the civilization they created is still with us today.
But does the Persepolis evidence truly support continuity?
Or are we imposing that narrative?
The administrative language suggests
The recent findings from the preliminary tablet
suggest a
previously no, sure.
Interesting. When we look back to 1920, our understanding was limited, but thanks to a century of investigation.
As we move along the Susa wall, from the Proto-Elamite tablets to the Neo-Elamite metalwork.
The story of the Elamites is ultimately the story of how human, cultural, across generations.
It tells the story of Darius's divine right to rule, his victories over the rebels, and his devotion to the great god Ahura Mazda.
I, Untash Napirisha, have built a temple of golden-colored brick.
Purpose, educational purpose and informational purpose, using advanced AI tool and human creativity. All concepts, scripting and storytelling are independently developed to ensure originality. Visuals and animation are enhanced using AI technologies such as View 3, Meta AI and Grok AI, while final editing and post-production are completed using CapCut and other professional editing tools. No external creator content has been copied or used any resemblance to real world environment, factories or processes is purely coincidental. All scenes shown in this video are digitally created and do not represent real footage. This content is produced with transparency and follows YouTube monetization guidance. Thank you and subscribe for more real videos. Manufacturing Factory.